Hey everyone, so welcome back to Automation. Today we are going to be doing another suggestion. If you have any suggestions for videos, just leave them in the comments. I'm pretty much just doing suggestions at this point until I figure out what kind of direction I want to go to. But somebody says, make an F1 van. So I was thinking, why don't we make an F1 van, but let's do it to the technical specifications for 2017. Now this is a bit of a challenge because we can't get them all, but we can try as hard as we can to get the most amount of them that we can. So we're going to go with this style of van, the 1980 van. I did actually pre-build this before, but I used the 45 style van, and it did not render correctly at all when I exported it. So we're going to be messing with this style van instead. So F1 cars are made out of carbon fiber. I think what we're going to do is go for the semi-space frame. We're going to go for a front longitudinal engine. I know that F1 does not necessarily have that, but one thing that they do have is that both front and back are double wishbone. So we're gonna go with that. And as with all things with this, we're gonna be raising up the quality sliders a lot. Now when it comes to engine, this is where things get interesting. I have to scroll down slightly to check the specs on this, but it's a 90-degree V6. We're just going to say it's a magnesium head. Now, they actually do give specs for stroke and for bore. The stroke is, it's 53 millimeters, and the bore is a maximum of 80 millimeters. But the thing is that they're all 1.6 liters displacement. And when I try that in game, like let's just scroll this stroke down here to 53. This is 53-ish. We're a 1.2 liter. And if we raise this up, it's going to bring the stroke up as well. So we're not going to be able to get the exact amount. So I figured we'll just go like this. It's under 80. It's over 53, but it's going to be good enough. So for the internals, we're just going to go billet everything. We're going to try and make as much power as we can. And when it comes to compression and stuff, that is going to be up to us. These engines, they make 850 horsepower. Spoiler alert, we're not going to make that much. But they also have an electric component, which makes an additional 160 horsepower. Yeah, we can't do that in this game, which is just unfortunate. But we're just going to keep going along here. They are turbocharged. We are going to go for a race preset just to start things off. We'll mess with that later. I believe that, well, they're single turboed, but this is twin turbo, so that makes a bit of a difference. They do have direct injection per cylinder, and they do run on, it says here that they run between 98 and 102 RON, so we're just going to go 100 because that's the best we can do. Now, one thing that we cannot do in this game is get the rev limit up to as high as they would actually be. These cars have a 15,000 RPM max rev limit. The game only goes up to 12, and I'm thinking we'll probably get somewhere in the 8s. We'll just have to see though. So we're going to go dual exhaust, we'll make it a little bit bigger, and we're just going to go for no mufflers as well. So the car currently makes, or I guess van in this case, it makes 234 horsepower. We need a lot more than that. So I've tweaked things quite a bit, and I've got us on an interesting path here. Essentially, we're up to 570-ish horsepower, but I've got the fuel mixture and the ignition timing all the way up, and I know that's probably not good, but it seems to be working. So with a touch of compression, it goes to 591. That might be as good as we're going to get. We're at max boost right now, which is significant boost. So it seems like 591 is as good as we're going to get with this engine, but that's not bad. That is a pretty decent engine, I think. So we'll just skip listening to it and we'll wait till it's in game, and we will move on to the body. Now I'm thinking that I want to go for a body like this. You'll notice that they updated the reflections in the showroom in Automation, which is really cool. But I want to go for a van like this. I don't think we're going to mod it at all. However, these F1 cars have ridiculously wide wheels, so we need to widen the back end and the front as much as possible. One cool thing about this new update is it shows the colors so much better. These are the colors we'll be seeing in game, so it makes it a lot easier to mess with them. So I've decided to go with a green, and we're going to go black wheels, and we're going to go black calipers as well. It's a van, but it's not the worst looking van ever. Now here's where the challenge comes in. We need some fixtures. But before we do anything, I just wanted to say, I put a comment on my last video but they added working trailer hitches to this game. They actually work in Beam, so we're absolutely going to have one. We are going to try and pull a trailer with our F1 van, and you should definitely stick around to see what that looks like. It's actually starting to look like an Astro van. I am very surprised. So what do you think about this front end? I think it actually looks pretty decent, and that's a surprising thing. What I wanted to do was just kind of recreate the typical Astro van look, although it doesn't look anything like an Astro van, and then add just my own flares on things like I usually do with this stuff. I think it looks pretty good. I put some aero on it because this is an F1 van and it's got to have some aero on it. It's almost a motorhome style van, or like a high top van. Like, this is a work van that you can walk into. So I'm thinking with this we go for a little bit more of a sleeper van than anything. It's got a little bit of a hint of what's going on underneath. So I think exterior wise it might be done. It doesn't need to be too fancy. It's really just a van with no windows. So let's move on to driveline. They're all rear wheel drive. We're going dual clutch. Actual F1 cars are 8-speed, but we are going to go with a 7-speed because that's all we can do. We're going to raise up this value here, and we're also going to raise up the spacing. We want to have pretty decent acceleration, but we have to be careful of wheel spin as usual. F1 cars in the back, believe it or not, they have, I think it's 405s, and then in the front is like up in the 3s. But for our sake, we cannot go that high, so we're going to go as big as we can. Brakes, they have carbon ceramic 6-piston brakes all the way around on F1 cars, so we will do that as well. I think that this might be a mistake, so we'll just raise that up to maybe 70. This is a lot of brake force. It is a van, so it will be reasonably heavy, but we still have to be pretty careful. I think I'm going to go full downforce with an active wing, and we'll go cooling flaps as well. Now, somebody had suggested something that I do with this, and I have completely forgotten it, so I'm going to just kind of raise these up in order to get better handling. And we also will raise up the brake airflow just a touch. And now that should have lowered our top speed. Oh, actually it raised our top speed. For safety, I'm going to go advanced 2010s just because these cars, like actual F1 cars, would have advanced safety. Suspension is important. I'm just going to go for the stuff that I usually go for. It doesn't actually give specific specifications. Our 0 to 100 time, which is 0 to 60, is in 4.1 seconds. So this, like most of my vehicles that I create, has a problem with wheel spin. I don't think you should be surprised at this point. We've got a 60% wheel spin chance in first gear, 80% in second gear. Oh my goodness. We can lower the spacing down a touch, but it seems that there are quite a few other warnings that needs to be taken care of. Wow, that is a serious line right there. That is really close. It's probably going to clip through the fenders a touch, but we'll just have to leave it as is. I don't think that it's possible to fix the terrible wheel spin with this, just because it is rear wheel drive. I did lower some settings a little bit, and I messed with it a touch, but I think that's going to be it. So that's what we've got. It's above the weight that it usually requests. For an F1 car, I believe that the minimum weight is 728 kilos, including the driver, and we're currently at 1,180, so that's not bad. Let's go pull a trailer in Beam. Alright, so this is what our creation looks like in Beam. It's a miracle that it actually works, because the last car I exported essentially became a massive error, so I'm very happy that this one actually came through, and it looks pretty decent as well. I'm not too keen on the green, and I completely forgot to put an exhaust pipe on it again, but truthfully the exhaust pipe would just be coming out the side, so I'm not super worried about it. It's kind of a stealthy look anyways. But yeah, let's just see how this van drives. So immediately out of the bat, you can tell that it's a wheel spin monster as expected. It definitely does not control as well as I would hope. It's really quite out there, and it's just dangerous, especially when the turbo kicks in, considering it's full boost turbo. It's a 3.0 bar. That is the most amount of boost that you can make in this, or at least with that setup. So that's a lot of boost. It drives pretty decently if you're not going too crazy with it. We're gonna see how it does pulling some trailers, but handling is really good if you can keep it from from drifting or from trying to escape like it's currently attempting to do. So I only noticed this the other day, but it seems like this was added in the most recent update. I don't think that trailer hitches were able to be put in like on automation cars before this. So all you have to do is click L on your keyboard and it'll join it if you're close enough. And yeah, like we're pulling a beam mod trailer, actually I think this is a base game trailer, with our automation vehicle, and it actually works. Now one of the things I really like to do in this game is test how much something can tow, and usually the way that I do that is I'll just start putting cars in the back of a trailer and just like find the heaviest one and then see how the suspension flexes and stuff. I just find that kind of thing cool. Maybe I'm just weird, but that's like the main reason I play these games. So let's do just that. I have an assortment of mod trailers, and I'm very interested to see what this van can do. So our first task is going to be to pull this V12 car that I made a while ago. It appears to be too low and we are causing issues. Let me just switch it up. Okay, so first test round 2. We're going to try and drive a pigeon up this now damaged trailer. And if that doesn't work, I'm just going to tow hay or something. Okay, there we go. So we have the pigeon in the trailer. It is only minorly damaged, so no need to worry about that. Alright, so it seems like the van is pretty effortlessly pulling this pigeon. It does show in the suspension. You can see that the wheel is clipping more through the fender than normal. And it seems like the hitches might not be perfect because it is glitching out of the hitch range just a touch, but it totally does work. And we can pull this pigeon with wheel spin and with ease. Maybe because of this new trailer hitch edition, I might do a series or an episode of this where I just pull cars or like pull a specific weight with some of the cars that I've made just to see if they can do it. I think that would be a really cool challenge for the Auto Olympics. Might need to consider that. So as a final test of this van's capability, I have hooked it up to a hay bale trailer with quite a few bales of hay on it. I think this is probably the heaviest regular hitch trailer that you can get, at least out of the mods that I have, and I'm interested to see if this van can pull it. Oh, it's slow, but it's working. The interesting part about this as well is that all the weight is on the trailer portion of this. Like the weight is not on the van, so it's all pulling power and not suspension damage that's doing this. I think we may have made, oh okay, it's tippy. It's very tippy. But I think we might have made a pretty decent utility vehicle here. Alright, so I'm picking up speed here. I think we might be able to, oh, okay, we just lost it. And it's a little glitched. But let's go to the racetrack and we will see how this van will do around there. Alright, so just a quick overview for those of you who are unfamiliar. This is the track setup that we've been doing. These are the cars that we've raced so far. First place, we're not going to get to first place, let's be real. But we have a hill climb V1 car. This thing is nuts. We have 2,900 horsepower, V12 in second. And we also have our max downforce car in third. I feel that this car is going to be somewhere in the middle, so we'll probably be competing with the 300 horsepower track car, maybe the car that my girlfriend made, and probably the drag car as well. I'm thinking it'll be somewhere in there, but we're just going to have to see. Alright, so it's a bit of a slow start from this car. It does not have the low-end grunt that you would hope from a V6, especially a 90-degree V6, but it is a 1.6 liter, so we're taking a bit of a trip on the grass, and immediately we spin. So the wheel spin in second gear is so insane that I just cannot drive in second gear at all. It hits boost in second gear, and it just spins instantly. I think this would have been better as an all-wheel drive, but that is not true to the F1 specs. The 600 horsepower is very usable, but the problem is that the current gear ratio means that our wheel spin is just absolutely insane. Our downforce is helping, but it's not doing enough. I think we needed to put a big old wing on the back of this. We're having no problems with cooling or anything, and I mean it's going around the track, is just, I have to be very careful with it. Very careful indeed. Okay, so our first lap was a 123, and if we can get stopped for the second lap, this is actually going to be a pretty quick one. 123 and 123 means that it'll be under 3 minutes by 14 seconds, so it'll be a what is that, like a 245 or something? So that's reasonably quick. I actually forgot what the times were that we were just looking at. I know that the slowest car is over 3 minutes, so we'll be above those for sure. Oh, we're coming out wide there, but I think we're going to be able to make it. We're a full 3 seconds faster than we were before. I think that early acceleration killed us on the last lap. Oh, come on, get it back around, and we're going in for the straight. As usual, I am afraid to hit the gas, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, wow, my fear was warranted. Goodness, so we're up in the middle of the pack with a 120. That is not bad at all. Let's see, who are we competing with? So the 300 horsepower car is faster, and I was exactly correct. We passed the 700 horsepower drag, and we passed the all-wheel drive car that my girlfriend made. So yeah, that's a pretty decent car. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. One thing that I want to do is mix up the content a touch, so if you have any ideas for what I could do, just let me know. I still want to stick with beam and automation, but I don't want to just do requests, so we'll have to see how that goes. But if you have any more suggestions, let me know. I'm still doing suggestions, and I will continue to do them as long as people are interested. And if you made it this far into the video, make sure to subscribe, because I'll be making more content like this, and you'll probably want to see that. So, see you in a few days.